All right, I think we are ready to start. You guys ready to start?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me scroll all the way back up to the page. I have a lot of notes here. I just look. It's at 7 pages worth of notes. Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Daniecae. With me, as always, my wonderful, beautiful co-host, MrGreenElite. How you doing? You muted yourself there.
All right. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? I every time I press the button, it would like remute me.
It's like
Whoa.
nope. I'm doing pretty good. I've had some technical issues and then some other things that just come up in life. Been bugging me, but so far everything is good. Real quick, just because I said technical issues. So I've been having a weird problem with my upload speeds lately. So if you guys are watching live, I just want to let you know that there might be some buffering. We're just going to kind of continue with it and let it roll. I am currently recording on my computer. So if you guys have any problems buffering or anything like that, make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube or follow on Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts, all those places, so you guys can get the full experience.
Do it.
My other co-host is here. Sorry, I delayed your grand introduction by hand ringing. RevSven, Padre, how
The
you doing?
audacity. No, I'm kidding. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Had a real weird hiccup this morning, but everything cleared itself up, and I'm doing all right.
Doing all right. Yeah, you did have you just like had a hot flash.
Yeah, I think I'm going through menopause, bro. Like I was just doing my thing, streaming, then all of a sudden I got hit with I felt like I was burning up. My stomach started hurting. I got real dizzy, started sweating. Like I
Mm,
mean, it was like, dude, like somebody turned on a faucet. I was sweating so bad.
yeah.
And I went and like stumbled my way to my bed and passed out for like an hour.
Woof.
Now I'm fine now.
Yeah.
Mark,
So I think we can get right into the show.
the meat.
The meat. Get right into this fucking meat. Cut right into the
Oh,
bones. Um. So Green and I had a chance to play Crucible.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we
um.
did.
So I mean, I have notes here. Green, do you wanna talk about your feelings on Crucible? Do you want me to go first? It's up to you.
Go ahead and go first, and then I will banter back with you.
Cool. So, just as a quick recap, Crucible is a game from Amazon Game Studios. It's their first release. It's a 5v5, 4v4. I think there's two game modes. One, they have different team numbers, but basically it's a PvP game. It's basically a MOBA. A lot of people compare it to the now defunct Paragon. I also saw a lot of comparisons to Smite. To me, just in terms of gameplay, how the game operates, in terms of like characters and stuff like that, this is definitely a MOBA or in the MOBA family. There's just a lot of things about this game I didn't care for. Firstly, is I don't care for MOBAs. They've never interested me. The gameplay loops don't interest me. Gameplay themselves, a lot of times they don't work for me. They don't hit the needs that or the itches that I need scratched. So that's the big thing. I just don't care for MOBAs, and this has MOBA written all over it. The characters and designs also just weren't that interesting to me. The concept also didn't do much for me, so there just wasn't a lot drawing me in. The biggest thing for Crucible, the biggest thorn in my crotch that this game provided was performance. I meet the minimum specifications. I already run things super low because I value performance over aesthetics and beauty. But I always got horrible frame rates. Load into the map, everything would be super laggy and jittery. You go around. I was getting like I would fluctuate between 30 and 50 frames just normally going around. And then as soon as enemies appeared on my screen, 30 frames and just tank. I mean, unplayable oftentimes. I died more I died more because the game was unplayable than anything else. So yeah, and again, I meet the minimum requirements. To me, if I meet the minimum requirements, I should be able to play at 30 frames solid. That's just where I think minimum requirements should be. It should be a minimum 30 frames at. And now I did not go and try to down res. I was playing at 1080p, but still I should be able to run at my monitor's resolution and at 30 frames a second if I meet minimum requirements for the game. And I wasn't. Some other things I saw, like models would break a lot. Like I would see like hair and cape models break, and that to me was just another kind of thing where I'm like, okay, this might be like early access, but for the amount of marketing and time that's put into this, there should be a little bit more polish on that. Just a thought, like in my opinion, I'm kind of like, if your models are breaking, that's not a good sign. For me overall, like just it was not a very good first impression. It's very early access. I think we were talking before we started, Rev. You were kind of saying this might be more of like an open beta. Then
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the way it's kind of feeling is whenever me and Viva did the early testing on it, it was more of like that was specifically for server testing, like just to make sure the servers could hold up. Which they actually did not do very well on opening day with it, which I was worried about. They did have server issues on opening day, but they did get them kind of wrapped up pretty quick. They found all the issues and patched them up within a couple of hours, had it all taken care of. But it kind of feels like after that early testing, that it became almost like a mass marketed open beta, just because like we had talked about the preseason battle pass, that it's like they're calling it preseason, and um if you get in there before a certain amount of time, you get it for free. Like if you get in there before June 1st, I think you get that battle pass for free. They give you the credits to be able to actually purchase the battle pass. So what I'm thinking is that that's what it has become, is kind of a mass marketed open beta, but it should have been labeled as such, especially if it's not optimized to meet the things they have listed as minimum requirements. I 100% agree with that. I just kind of feel like maybe that's the direction they headed, because I see people talking, and in the feedback section of the Discord, and they're still pumping in feedback, and people are trying to grab these, like the bug reports are still like coming in, and they're getting them and actually trying to work them in. And uh, so that's kind of how it feels. And I was worried that it was going to be that way whenever we first started playing it, just because we had, even like on our computers, we had those same kind of clipping issues on the map load in, like whenever you start the game. Um, Now that was the only place we really had like a big clipping issue like that. But it's weird, because that is the feel, is that it feels like an open beta, and it wasn't marketed as one, and that does, I mean, that's a bad start. Now, this is Amazon's first attempt at a game, but Amazon, obviously owning Twitch, have had their toes in games for a long time, especially with like integrations and stuff like that. And it feels like maybe they should have probably worked a little more towards that before doing that. And this game was an alpha for like 2 years, if I remember hearing correctly. So I don't know why they decided to go that route with releasing a game that wasn't completely taken care of. Now I did see some new not new maps, new patches in development. Map work was released today. Don't know where that's going. Haven't actually got to look at it myself. I can report back on that later. and maybe even grab the link, post it in the show notes, just to kind of give people a feel for where it's going from where we're talking about. Hopefully, but that yeah, it's a weird attack that they took towards this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's just somebody who's a big fan of the game. Like I enjoy the game. I have a lot of fun with it. It just seems like that that's where they're at, and it's not a good start.
Yeah. Green. What were you thinking? How are you feeling about this game?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't say that it is a bad game. I enjoyed playing it. Uh, for a good portion of it once I started getting like used to the controls. I did experience the drop in frame rate when you were dropping like the pods, like if you died and you were respawning. Everything got pretty blurry and a lot of frame rate drop happened, but which is not very common. Like with my PC setup, I run a 2080 Super, so honestly shouldn't experience frame rate drops very often. So that's one of the things that um, I saw that I didn't really care for. I don't know if it's just because the game is just not fully optimized yet. And honestly, it does feel like it's not really considered an opening day. It does feel like it's definitely like an open beta. One thing, I I don't know if they need something. I don't know if it's like skill based matchmaking or something, but I know when we dropped in, we played around where one of the devs was in the game, so that was a big thing
Or
too.
1-1, the devs aren't that great.
Well,
I'm
still,
kidding.
it was
I'm taking jabs at them because I've killed a few of them, and I'm like, yeah, I would get in there and message them and be like, "Ha, suck it, nerd."
yeah. So like, but this was like our second game in, and like, they don't do huge like a huge thing of like explaining what each character does, um, or like how effective those are. That's something you really have to like figure out on your own.
Mhm.
Which it was it had a pretty steep learning curve right off the bat, especially when a lot of people have been playing it. Like we matched up with devs, we matched up with some like alpha testers and shit like that. So like most of the time I was just not having a good time because I would just get destroyed. It like
One of the things I wish they would advertise better, that they don't, is over there, you have your Heart of the Hive and your Alpha Hunters game mode. And then over to the
Mhm.
side, you have your practice, and then underneath it, it says arcade. And in there is a whole nother game mode that's like a 6v6, I believe. It's just like it's either 6v6 or 8v8. And it's just like a game where you drop in and you just try to kill each other and then also try to I think it like you capture harvesters instead of going and killing the hives or whatnot. You capture the harvesters, and then the more harvesters you capture, um, the more a kill for your team counts as. And but it's a lot better for learning actual characters and stuff. And I wish they would do a better job of kind of advertising that game mode. And with it being its own game mode, like why put it just under arcade by itself? Why not just put that? I
Exactly.
mean, unless they're planning on making more. I myself have become a big fan of the Alpha Hunters game mode, but that is where I believe a lot of the people who got it in early are going to, because it's like their version of a battle royale. Um, I did get to actually play that game mode a little bit more because I didn't get to talk about it last time because me and Viva never got to try it. It's actually like it was really cool because when you jump in there and you start playing, if one of your teammates dies and you come across somebody with their teammate dead, you can actually team up until the end. And then at the end, if there are three of you left, it's every person for themselves. But if you're both your people and your team make it to the end, you just stay a team. And Viva, we were playing and Viva got killed. And the person that was coming out, or that he almost had dead, their teammate was coming after me, and I was firing over them to get to their other teammate, and Viva was, saying, "Dude, kill no, the person's in front of you." And as soon as I killed him, I started spamming one, and they accepted the team, the alliance, and we went on and actually ended up getting second place.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah, that's
for
definitely interesting. Oh, sorry.
no. You go ahead. Go ahead.
I say it definitely not something I have tried. It sounds interesting. Something like that would be A different change from the heart of the was it the heart of the harvester? Or
Yeah, Heart of the Hives. Yeah, and see, like,
heart
I
of the
feel
hive,
like
yeah.
I feel like Alpha Hunters would be better for people to jump into the first time, just because it is all about kills. You still do level up your characters by collecting essence the way you do in any other game mode, but you literally win by killing the other teams. And
Mhm.
but again, the problem kind of comes in the form of this is where like all of your competitive gamers are wanting to go and play. You know, like um we had some people that are pretty prominent in the esports world that I'm not going to name drop that were in there that you know pretty much ran train on us, but I think in your the regards to the skill based matchmaking thing, there was discussions on how competitive is going to be coming in the official season 1, and that's going to they're going to balance out your skill based matchmaking better. I think it was harder for them right now because they like with it being brand new and their first game, they don't really have like the metrics for how to really kind of get the skill base in there yet. I that's just a like a thought. I don't know if it's actually how it works. It's just like maybe who knows kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I would like to see it better on skill based stuff too, because every now and then we were getting in games where somebody was going in, and you only get 16 total people, so that's 8 teams of 2 on Alpha Hunters, and there would be somebody in there that had 13 kills by the time we even found them, and it was just like a couple of teams left, and we were like, well, you want to just quit now, or do you want to actually go face this demon? But I think a lot remains to be seen with it, and I hope it does improve on those aspects because I have seen the stuff y'all are talking about. A lot of it I just haven't experienced myself yet, and I think it's because since me and Viva play together a lot, we don't really play Heart of the Hive, and so we play a lot of just the Alpha Hunters. Um, but I would hope that they do optimize that stuff because I feel like there is a lot of potential in the game, especially if they introduce more characters later, balance out, who's better at what and stuff. Because it seems like some characters are just way more powerful in certain game modes than others. And I know every game has their quote unquote meta, but I think that's where a lot of games fall off because then you just get two teams of the exact same people and you get all these other characters that are just kicked by the wayside. Like they need to find ways to balance to where if you can get good with a character, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think, because, I mean, even like Blizzard doesn't get that right. I mean, Overwatch teams all revolve around like your two core tank and healer, and then you can have, because they just make so many DPSs.
Hmm.
I will say there was also, in terms of like the meta for this game and mid maxing and all the other like depth of characters and loadout systems, there are like, your force field does like 15% healing over like 3 seconds, or something. There's some of that stuff for those characters as well. Oh, you get 3 extra shots in this weapon at the expense of this or whatever else. So there is some of that stuff. There is some more depth in the characters, so you
That's kind
can.
of like the difference in like paladins and Overwatch, where you get that
Mhm.
like where you can kind of tweak how your character build is
Yeah.
as you go in. And that's one of the things I do enjoy about it is like you can go in, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna play Alpha Hunters. I need to max out whatever my damage causing stuff is. Like how can I do the most damage? Because that's all this game mode revolves around. And then the other one's like, well, how do I protect myself so I don't get killed so much by the stompers or the spitters or the other, NPC like environmental damages and stuff. And so, like, I do like the tactical deal on that, because although it's not like a huge part, 'cause there's so minimal choices you can make on it as of right now, anyways.
Yeah. So, Green, final thoughts on Crucible? How are you feeling about it? What are you
Uh, it's,
thinking?
it's definitely something that I would try again. I'm not saying that it's a one and done for me. It just really just depends on when I actually go back into it. Um, Honestly, right now it's more of a wait and see if they polish it up more. Uh, and then definitely have to go in there with the full team because we played with a random each time, and it was an extremely bad experience. Like they were off doing their own thing, and it's an extremely team based game. So full team, and then wait for some more polish. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm looking at like 6 months to a year before I even look at this game again. I uninstalled it. Big thing is if I can't play it with that performance, you know, I can't play it. I can't be fair to a game if I can't play it. And you know, I have a medium spec rig that's starting to show its age, yes, but still is, you know, decent enough. For me, its big saving grace is it's free, so you're not out anything for installing it, except for, you know, your allowance of internet usage. At this point, I don't really recommend paying for anything with it though. We'll see. Again, like I said, I don't want to come off as unfair. I just did not have a good time with it. I don't want to come off like too harsh and saying, oh, this is shit, you know, this isn't worth your fucking time or anything like that. I'm just being very candid and saying I did not enjoy this game. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe, you know, 6 months, a year, it'll be different enough for me to want to come check it out again and optimize well enough that, you know, it'll run on better on systems. I don't expect to have this entire system like the way I have it right now in 6 months to a year. So we'll see. Do you guys want to move on to the next game, or did you have another thought you wanted to get out there?
I'm good.
Cool. So this is a game I've been putting off talking about for a little while, not for any particular reason, just that, you know, we've been busy. It's called The Cycle, which I shared some gameplay footage from Jack Frags to you guys. So you guys kind of have an idea of what everything is here. So The Cycle is a first-person shooter currently in early access, being developed by Jaeger Development GmbH, and is available for free on the Epic Games Store. It is a kind of cross-genre player versus environment versus player setup. For anyone that's interested in checking it out, the minimum specs are Windows 7 plus 64-bit. So anything, you know, 7, 8, 10. Processor that requires you to have a Core i5 2.6 gigahertz or equivalent, the NVIDIA GTX 760 or AMD RX 560 for GPU, and 6 gigabytes of RAM, and DirectX 11 are your minimum required specifications. So the basic gameplay loop of the game is this: you guys load into a map and have to complete a variety of quests, such as drilling for minerals, drilling for minerals, collecting mushrooms. You can hunt mutated beasts that are on the map, and capturing specific points while surviving the hostile creatures on the surface, as well as surviving other players. Basically, how you win is you collect contracts on the map, and then you have to evac off the surface of the planet. So a lot like Call of Duty Warzone, where you have to like go to a helicopter, or like Ring of Elysium, where you have to like get onto an escape vehicle or get onto a helicopter before the storm closes in on you. So the game has like some battle royale elements to it, but it's more of a free-for-all than a battle royale. It's more similar to like Hunt Showdown or like Escape from Tarkov almost. There are weapon unlocks, so you get 3 weapons. You build a loadout before you load in, and you start with a pistol, and then you get your second weapon, and then you get your third weapon. Weapons are unlocked through a crafting system made from materials that you guys get on the planet's surface. And there's a variety of snipers, shotguns, SMGs, assault rifles, and pistols. I did a little bit of crafting, not a ton. I crafted a pistol and I crafted another AR. The weapons do feel pretty good. They're snappy. They have nice feedback. I think it's mostly hit scan stuff. I don't think there's like a lot of projectile stuff in there, so that's, you know, be warned, it's not going to be like Arma or PUBG or something like that. It's going to be more arcadey in terms of shooting. The game does run pretty well. It works well enough that, and the gameplay loop intrigued me enough that I gave it a few tries. I'm gonna probably need a few more tries with a squad. I still haven't played with a squad yet, so I'll need to get like a group of people together and try it out. And maybe we'll talk about that. Yeah, Green. We'll try it out later. One thing I will say is when you do load in solo, you can start a truce with other players. And you can have a truce of 2. Or I think they call it a pact. But so you can kind of form this pact and complete quests together, and you get like a 50-50 split. The interesting thing about that is that anyone can break it at any time. There's like not a minimum requirement. So, you know, you could be in the middle of a quest and the person breaks the pact and they just kill you and take everything. Which has happened once to me. Otherwise, like PvP, like I don't know, what I will say, like, getting kills is a little difficult. Time to kill is really long. Like there's a lot of armor, and like the PvP aspect of it, just like getting the kills, it takes a lot because you have to like break down the armor, and then like they regenerate you regenerate armor as well as regenerate health. So like getting those kills is very difficult. If you're prepared to fight, you're prepared to fight. So much so, like, I kind of just avoided fights. I tried a couple of games where I was just like super thirsty, you know, trying to go for all of them, all the kills I could, and it just didn't work out. So then I went with the idea of, okay, let me evade more. Let me not deal with other players and see how long I can wait out. And then, of course, the battle around the evac vehicle was absolutely ridiculous too. So yeah, super intriguing. The only other thing I really feel like I need to mention was, I don't know if they have set times when their servers are up or what, but there's a lot of times where like, oh yeah, I haven't played the cycle in like a day or two. Let me load it up, and then it would just tell me like server error. Like I would sit there for like 5 minutes trying to load, then like server error. I don't know if that's a thing with them or if that's a thing with Epic or what. I don't know. And one other thing I will say, and I think I even put a tweet out about this, or maybe posted something in my Discord. And I think they got rid of this, but it was when for like the first week that I was playing this, they would open up a cutscene, or like this intro cutscene, and it would play every single fucking time I loaded the game. Every single time. I'm like, I just went through this like an hour ago when I decided I was gonna play this again. Now you're making me sit through this fucking cutscene again? That was fairly annoying. I don't recommend any dev does that. But I've rambled on for a while now. I'm sure you guys probably have questions or thoughts or opinions you want to share. I guess Green, do you have anything you wanna ask or get your?
No, I'm just excited to try it out. I just haven't had a chance to actually download it. I've been juggling a lot of games lately, but I've watched a few things like what you've sent me. Definitely something intriguing. I've always liked the aspect of PvEvP. Ever since Destiny introduced it with the Gambit. So it puts a nice flair into a game when you're not only worrying about environmental threats but also other players. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in trying it. I probably should download it tonight. I've just been Just been busy.
Oh yeah. Well, and you have a bunch of games you do juggle. You juggle 3
So many.
games on your stream
At
as it
least.
is.
At least.
Yeah. Padre, any thoughts, questions, opinions?
One of the questions that kind of popped in while you were talking about it that I wanted to wait and ask. You said that you regen health and armor. Is
Mhm.
there like a stagger between the two? Like you'll regen the health and it like pauses for a couple of seconds, then you start regenning armor, or is it just straight through?
That's a great
Because I think
question
in
because I don't remember.
Halo, it was like as soon as it started regenning, it would do that and the shield. But in like Destiny, am I right, Green? That there's like a small pause before it starts regenning, uh, like
Yeah.
between the two. Yeah, it's like
Well,
I know
you
that
know,
can play into like your tactics of it. Like if you can just get away long enough to start regenning, you're good in some games. But some of them, it's like you have to weigh the risk. Like, did I do enough damage to just regen my health before I jump back into the fight, or
Yeah.
one of those two? So that's why I was curious
Yeah,
about
I don't
that.
recall actually. Now that you bring it up, I'll have to play it again. And now you're making me even question that statement because was there? I know there's like even like you can get like some health packs and stuff like that, but I think you do regen. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, the shields and health though. There's a lot of it, so maybe I'm getting confused on how it works exactly. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it does regen. Now I'm really doubting myself. I feel kind of stupid for doubting myself this much, but um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back. I'll have to come back to that after I play the game again. Anything else on any other questions or thoughts you guys want on the cycle?
You mentioned this is on Epic. Is it exclusively on Epic?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. And I couldn't remember. Did you say it was free?
yep. It is free. It's
I'll pick
currently
it
in
up.
early access, and it has I think it has a battle pass system.
Okay.
Uh, I unless you absolutely really fucking love the game, like that you play it and then you're just kind of addicted to it for weeks on end. Um, I wouldn't do the battle pass personally. That's just me. It's just you know, yeah. Not a lot else to say on that one for me. Um, anything else on the cycle, guys?
oh, pretty
Cool.
straightforward.
Yeah. So next, whoops, that's not it. Here we go. You got some time in on this game, Padre. Chex Quest.
I did. And I also did the full blown sellout thing. So I'm going to precursor this because this was kind of funny actually. When I mentioned that I was going to play Chex Quest earlier in the day, I said that I was going to play Chex Quest, and then if I got through pretty quick, I was going to switch over to something else. And Chex Mix actually tweeted back at me, like the actual official Chex Mix page, and said, "You also have to unlock all the characters." I was like, "Well, they have spoken." And so what did I do? I recorded a video. I went and bought some Chex Mix, recorded a video to the song Sellout by Real Big Fish, and discussed how now I'm a cheap corporate shill for Chex because they tweeted at me. Anyway, so I moved on and started playing Chex Quest, which feels apparently it's actually a remake of an older game that they had made in the past that was essentially Doom. You're like the OG Doom, but with these little goopy monsters, and you played as Fred Chexter, I think is his name, who's a soldier with that looks like a giant Chex, and then you unlock new characters as you go. And the new version of it feels kind of the same way. It's like it's not Doom Eternal levels of like polish and gameplay, but it feels like something that may have come out in like the early to mid 2000s. Um but it is still kind of like a Doom clone in a way. You're on this planet. There are these monsters that are being formed because they snack too much, and you're going around trying to essentially eliminate these monsters, get them all back to their own dimension, and you get this thing called a Zorch gun. Now the thing is, every weapon in this game is a Zorch gun. No idea what Zorch is. I'll be 100% honest, but it's a red death laser. I can tell you that, and as you progress, you get new Zorch guns, but not every Zorch ammo goes to each Zorch gun, which became a pain in the ass. And my big like I only had like one actual true complaint because I knew going in that it was not going to be this like this amazingly polished game because it's about Chex Mix. But uh they don't tell you how to do anything. They don't tell you how to open doors. They don't tell you that you can even switch your weapons because when you pick up a new one, it automatically just changes to the new one in your hand. And then you start picking up ammo later. You're like, oh, wait, I'm not reloading my own ammo. Like, what's happening? Well, it's because you reloaded the ammo that's in your inventory, which the 1, 2, 3, 4, those keys are the ones that swap those. They didn't tell you any of that. You had to just kind of figure it all out on your own, which for somebody like me who's still relatively new to PC, I was like, what the F, David Blaine? Like, what's happening right now? But once I got it figured out, it's just like kind of charming and fun and goofy. Once you get through a level, if you die in the next one, you'll just go back to the beginning of that particular level. Um, you could run this thing on a potato. I think you could run this on like a Windows 95 computer. It was super low spec, but it was it's one of those good little. It's free. That's first and foremost. But it was one of those fun, just little time killer kind of goofy games. You can make jokes. There are a lot of little puns and stuff in there. Like I walked into this room and he goes, "This place is big. It has a ceiling, a floor, and 4 walls. This must be a big room." Just goofy little crap like that. It was charming. It was fun. Definitely worth the time kill if you want to just have a few cheap laughs. I would recommend it. Just don't go in there expecting, you know, Doom Eternal or something.
Yeah. So, in terms of where this lands in the fast food and in junk food and whatever, advertising space, 10 being I love you, Colonel Sanders, and 1, despite me playing a ton of it as a child, the Captain Crunchberry Fiend thing. Where does this land?
You know what? Just due to the comedic value and the fact that it didn't play horribly. Like you would find things like enemies twitching and stuff like that from time to time, or they'd pause in place, whatever. I'd give it a solid like 6.5 on that scale, but that's just because that 10 is set like super high if you're throwing Colonel Sanders up there. That one is in a league of its own. That man is an absolute sexual dynamo when it comes to those 11 herbs and spices. Um, so I would say like a 6.5, maybe even a 7, just because the enjoyability of like the goofiness of it all.
Yeah, yeah,
Plus, I
and
love their ride tips. That kind of goes a long way.
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, just fucking rye chips, man. If they,
Dude, yeah, it's Chex Mix like that in and of itself bumps it up a little bit.
yeah, to be honest, I'm gonna derail the conversation a little bit with Chex Mix. If they just sold the Chex and the rye chips together and got rid of the fucking pretzels and the breadsticks, I would be super down for that.
Hey, dude, you can buy just the rye chips, and you can go buy a box of Chex.
I know.
I
Green
I
is
don't,
giving
but
me an incredulous look.
The only thing that's good in Chex Mix is the pretzels.
I'll fight you right now. The rye
And you
chips
want
are
to
the
get rid of
greatest
the
thing.
pretzels? I don't like.
I will
I don't
strike
care.
you.
I will fucking fight both of you.
You want to get striked?
Like one hand each. Like you can
Blasphemy.
strike me all you want.
Sacrilege.
You want to get striked there, bud?
Look, if I want pretzels, I'm going to go buy a bag of pretzels.
Oh, right? Huh.
Also,
That's the only
Donley just showed up in our Twitch chat and just said, "Check. Who prefers the rye chips? Yuck. Look here, the rye chips are one of the best parts, and there's almost no comparison to almost anything else."
If
Rye
anyone
chips.
ever offers me Chex Mix, I just pick the pretzels out and eat the pretzels. Everything else you can just take back. It's not like trail mix here, where you can eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, Chex Mix is in and of itself as a whole not good.
The bread
Pretzels?
I will say, to me, like the little breadstick things are the worst. Like they're dry, hard. Like I always feel like I'm gonna break a tooth on them.
Same. Yeah, I gotta say without but the idea that anybody is denying the love for rye chips, y'all can politely leave. Green. You can politely GTFO with your Gatorade bottle, your hydration
threaten
like a
me.
responsible adult.
I'll go right now.
So anything else on Chex Quest? It sounds like it's just a fun little romp.
That's pretty much it. You know, I mean, I'm saying just
Yeah.
have if you want to just have a good chuckle, laugh, and go on and have a good day with it, then it's a fun little go for being free.
Yeah. Well, it's especially because it's an ad, which I'm gonna say real quick. This is hashtag not sponsored, which means I would also like to make some money off the stream. Do you guys care if we go on commercial break?
Let's go. Hashtag yet, by the way, on that not sponsored. I'm doing that corporate sellout on that.
Yo, Chex, call me up. All right, so guys, we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Stay right there.
Hello, I'm Matthias Carnero, host of the Controller Disconnected podcast. It's a little show I make by myself where I talk about whatever games I've been playing recently and other subjects related to games as well. Sometimes I even do movie reviews just to shake things up. If you enjoy listening to my weird accent, episodes are released every week wherever podcasts are sold. Well, actually, podcasts are free, but you know what I mean.
All right, and we are back. Real quick, just a shout out to Mr. Lucid Dreams, or Lou Merck, I should say, for producing all the beats. If you guys are interested, check the description of this episode, or if you're in the live chat, I know I've shouted him out a couple times already tonight. So go check out his stuff. And big thank you to him for supplying us with an intro and with the commercial music you guys heard.
He makes fantastic music.
Lou is the best, just like rye chips.
1 second.
You just fart.
Sorry, no, I wanted to mute the mic so I could adjust it without making a bunch of noise. So we have some news that we should probably talk about. Did you guys see the stuff with G2A?
Yeah.
So we actually talked about G2A a long time ago. I actually went back and looked it up. It was July 2nd, 2019 to be exact. The guest was Nemi Butt, so shout out to Nemi Butt for that episode. So we talked about G2A on that episode, disputing their reputation that they allow the sale of fraudulent keys on their platform. So for those who don't know, G2A is a website in which Steam key resellers can sell keys at whatever price they deem appropriate. So oftentimes what would happen, or what allegedly would happen,
Allegedly.
Now, I will say for all but some Factorio keys, we'll say allegedly. Oftentimes, resellers on the site would use stolen credit cards to purchase keys, and this would a lot of times lead to chargebacks that would actually hurt the developers. They would get charged more for the chargebacks. So in GTA, I'm sorry, I knew I was going to do that. G2A took a cut of all transactions on the site, so they had little or really no incentive to actually monitor the legitimacy of keys. So they were disputing this for a while with a bunch of indie devs. Tiny Build was one of the people, or was one of the groups that was involved in that. And so they put out this challenge last summer to any developer who claimed they had stolen keys sold on the platform. They challenged them to have an audit conducted by a third party. And if they could verify stolen keys were in fact sold, the devs would get paid 10 times the amount of any chargebacks they incurred. So what happened? It's been almost a year. It's been the better part of a year, I should say. The devs of Factorio, which is Woob? Woob-A? I'm going to go with Woob. Took G2A up on the offer, and here are basically the results. Here's just the story in a nutshell. They actually struggled to find an auditor. According to G2A, they couldn't find an auditor who would agree to the requirements, which was that the auditor had to be willing to share their findings publicly, which makes sense. If that's the only thing, then I'm kind of scratching my head. I feel like there's probably some more things. That was just a convenient one for G2A to put out there. G2A decided that they were going to conduct the investigation themselves. Woob apparently agreed to that. And they were provided with a report of the keys, who sold them, and the dates and times they were sold. Apparently, Woob was happy with this and the investigation, and they were compensated with $39,600 USD. The biggest takeaway is that this confirms there were stolen fraudulent keys being sold on the site. The exact same thing that G2A was disputing was happening in the first place. So good on them for owning it up. And even if it was a investigation they conducted themselves, I still wonder kind of the legitimacy of the investigation itself. But if they're willing to, give $39,600 to Woob, we can't be too upset with it. For me, the big takeaway, the thing that we talked about, going on the better part of a year now, was there have been, and there probably still are, a bunch of stolen keys on sale on G2A as a platform. Finding good deals is awesome, but we also have to consider the legitimacy of some deals and the efficacy of buying from sites like G2A. Right? Yeah, sure, that $2 key for that game that usually is $30 is really nice, but who are you hurting for when you buy that $2 key? Are you potentially causing massive financial stress on devs with stuff like that? So just something to consider. Think about the legitimacy and the efficacy of where you're getting your keys. Humble Bundle and Chrono.gg are great sites. I've also heard people have a lot of luck with Fanatical. And just for transparency's sake, because we are Humble Bundle affiliates, so there is something there. We don't really push that much though. But that's just for transparency's sake is why I mentioned that. What do you guys think about this story? We'll go with you, Padre. What do you think?
I mean, once again, you do gotta give the big ups to the idea that they owned up to their mistakes there, and were like, oh well, shit. But on the other hand, there were this was something there was something that was happening like way before this, that G2A was taking out ads on Google and selling these keys, and some of them apparently came back reported stolen. So they were taking out ads in Google to where if you Googled a game, I think this actually, because they do location based ad ad targeting or whatever. Um, they they were seeing it more in Europe than they were here, but they were actually like you would Google a game and G2A was the one that would pop up first. And if you tried to turn off ads by that particular company on Google, it wouldn't let you. Like you would try to swipe over to turn it off and it would just knock it back. It would not allow you to do it. And so it kind of became like that was a little on the rough side. But I want to know like in detail what their plans are moving forward to prevent stolen keys. Like I mean, I know that obviously they're going to try to kill that, but I want to know what their plan is specifically.
Man, just them putting out an ad on Google is kind of like your local crackhead selling copper out of the back of his truck and taking out an ad in your local classifieds in your newspaper.
100% pure copper taken fresh from the light post outside my house. Again, that was something that happened back in 2019, but it was still something that happened during this whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Green, how are you feeling on this?
I just can't believe how cocky they were about it. Like, if you have a third-party sale platform, you should automatically expect that the gray market is going to move in. It's the same thing that happens on eBay. You can buy keys from eBay. More than likely, they're probably going to be gray market. So like them flex and being like, yeah, I mean, if you can prove it, then we'll just give you the money back. Yeah, they should have automatically known. Like, yeah, we're a third-party seller. We can't completely verify where these sellers are getting these keys from, how they're doing it, the legitimacy of it. So we probably should just keep our mouths shut. And I mean, it's a good thing that they actually did what they said that they would do and give money back to them, to the devs. But you got to really question how much happened. Like, how many thousands and thousands of dollars do they still owe to other devs because of all the keys that they've sold?
Yeah, because other devs are going to take them up on that offer too. They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
look more into it. Like what it kind of makes me think of is like whenever you get into it with your significant other on an argument, and they're like, "Just Google it," and you do, and you're like,
Fuck.
"Ha." And then they just look like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. Just imagine like CD Projekt Red or Rockstar, if they were like, yeah, let's just do that, and they look to see how many Witcher titles that they've sold and shit like that. They would be owing a lot of money.
Yeah.
At 10 times.
Well, what sucks is that would be something that larger companies could do, because one of the things that Woob said was the administrative energy and resources that was required to deal with G2A on this matter far outweighed what it actually got them. There's something about like the bragging rights that we could mention there, but what are bragging rights when you have empty bellies to feed? So I can see like G2A with Rockstar and EA and Bethesda and CD Projekt Red, but for companies like Tiny Build and Woob and some of these other smaller companies, it might be one of those more difficult things for them to actually go do, which sucks because they're the ones that are going to be the most affected by it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there was that big thing. The articles that were put out, I think Kotaku was one of the bigger publications that got some information from Woob and whatever else. One thing I will say that I got really annoyed with was just like G2A like making it sound like it was their problem. It's like, oh, it hurts us. No, it doesn't. It only hurts you now because your reputation has been ruined on it, and you just had to pay almost $40K. You weren't losing any money on this deal to begin with. You were taking money on these transactions, and you were allowing you were facilitating the sale of stolen materials. You weren't getting hurt by this. you weren't getting hit financially by like this, but like the devs were. Because the devs are the ones that are getting stuck with these chargebacks, and your offer, because there's another thing where they offered like a chargeback protection, where they would charge devs a certain amount, either monthly or annually, for chargeback protection. And that to me, it was just kind of like a mafia ring. It was protection money. It was all that was. Yeah, that was one thing. I read that in G2A statement after this came out, and they're just like, we're sorry this happened. This hurts everybody. This hurts customers, this hurts devs, and it hurts us. Yeah. Yeah. We're sorry.
We're sorry.
Fucking British Petroleum over here. Yeah, that was the other big thing. I saw that statement. I'm like, okay, suck a dick. Like, legitimately suck a fucking dick. Get out of here with that bullshit. Straight bullshit.
Swallow all of it. The whole thing.
The whole thing. I want to see your cheeks bulging. I'm sorry. That was graphic. So anything else on G2A?
I don't necessarily have something specifically pertaining to G2A, but in a sense of the whole, just kind of like keys and stuff going weird. This pertains to last week's episode. I covered Neversong last week. The dev for Neversong accidentally sent out 3,500 keys to every one of his Kickstarter backers. 3,500 on accident. I think it was supposed to be like 35 or something. I accidentally sent 3,500 keys to each one of his Kickstarter backers, dude. And all he was like, well, I guess people at least know who I am. I thought that was incredible. It was poof. I saw that article and that blew me away. But the
Neversong now available on G2A for $2 a pop.
Bro, you're not wrong.
So what, you said 3,500 to each of his Kickstarter backers?
To each Kickstarter backer. I didn't see what the total number was, like what that exactly meant. But on launch game, each of his Kickstarter backers got 3,500 Steam keys. It was sent out in a text file. Now there were a lot of very honest people that were just like, hey, here. But just oof. Yeah.
Wow.
I wish I could pull the numbers of the exact amount that he gave away, but all I know is 3,500 to each.
That's insane.
That is insane.
Like, imagine having 3,500 keys just sent to you in a text file. What do I do?
Guess I'm gonna sell this on G2A for $2 a pop.
Money. Easy money.
Gonna be rolling in it.
That would be rough. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that out there since I covered the game last week. And...
Yeah. Follow-up question from just related to that. How much did Neversong end up retailing for? And do you think it's worth it?
I'm going to go ahead and verify this because I knew that question was coming, so I looked at it and wanted to make sure. But I'm very positive that it actually came out to be, I think, $14.99.
Okay.
Which is, of course, it had the launch day special for $12.74. I could agree with the $12.74. I don't know. I just don't know that $15 is it for it being such a short game. And actually another piece, I don't know if I talked about this last week, but another game that I had previously covered, Someday You'll Return, they actually patched to where a lot of the mundane redundancy stuff that I had talked about, how some of the puzzles were they seemed like they were just too long and they would have been better off shorter. They actually went in and shortened all that stuff. So I don't know if I covered that last week, but yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting idea that they actually did that. They went in and fixed the one problem that not only I had really seen with the game, but that others had as well.
Excellent. So moving on, there's a bunch of trade show announcements, like a bunch, that I figured we should talk about real quick. And yeah, so E3 was obviously canceled. BlizzCon was just canceled a couple hours ago today. So here's some events. If you guys want some big gaming news, some big gaming reveals, here's some things that you guys can look out for. A lot of these are actually on June 6th. So the first one I'll mention is the PC Gaming Show from PCGamer.com. This is on June 6th. This, I believe, is going to be very similar to their showcase that they do at E3 every year anyways. The following one is the Guerrilla Collective, June 6th through the 8th. That one, I'm sorry, I'm gonna probably be incorrect on this, but I want to say that is being held by Jeff Knightley, who does the Game Awards, who runs the Game Awards. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe so. That sounds right to me. That's
Okay.
how I've always.
So yeah, that's the Guerrilla Collective, June 6th through the 8th. The next one on my list here is the Future Games Show from GamesRadar.com. That is June 6th. Following that on June 11th is EA Play Live, and then Ubisoft Forward July 12th. I'm sure we'll probably see a QuakeCon for all the Bethesda and id Software stuff down the line. I haven't heard of a Nintendo Direct for a little while, so I don't know if they're going to be doing one this summer yet. One would hope so. Google Stadia, I heard they're supposed to get another Google Direct or a Stadia Direct to see if what they do with that. Because the last one they did was just underwhelming and did not really do anything for me. I can't think of, and so I looked around. I didn't see any big gaming, any other big gaming events. Those are the ones there. So again, the PC Gaming Show from PC Gamer, June 6th. Guerrilla Collective, June 6th through the 8th. Future Games Show, June 6th. Again, that one's from Games Radar. EA Play Live is June 11th. Ubisoft Forward is July 12th.
I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know the exact date yet. They haven't announced the exact date, but I have already registered as an attendee. But it's called IWOCon. It's Indie World Order. They're literally like one of the biggest, like just solely indie pages out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be having IWOCon. You can find it on their Twitter at Indie World Order, and it's going to be showcasing just nothing but indie games like the whole weekend. You can just obviously register as an attendee for free, and then on their page it shows some shout outs to some dev applicants. They already went ahead and put some of their stuff on their page. So I thought people who are like me that just are gaming hipsters that just want to play the games that haven't gotten more than 12 downloads worldwide would love to hear about that. So yeah, IWOCon will be coming sometime this summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking at some other stuff. 2DCon in Minneapolis is still supposed to be happening. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't bought my ticket yet for that. So, but that has an indie island, so I might be attending that. Green might also be attending that as well.
Possibly,
we haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. We've been deciding as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So yeah, once we find out some more events, we will let you guys know about that.
The biggest thing I'm gonna miss, like what I was super looking forward to,
what's that?
Is Bethesda's E3 panel, like the cringy Bethesda E3 panel, and like the 10 Bethesda employees are just in the thing, like waiting for them to, like, and we brought another shitty update to Fallout 76, and they're all just just
no, they get the crowd. I'm telling you, dude, they get the crowd drunk before they feed them. That's what happens.
Well, Bethesda, they may have done that, but only the 10 paid wooers were the
They
ones
got 'em-
wooing.
They got him drunk on that shitty Nuka-Cola Black. In the crappy plastic bottle.
Ooh.
Did you guys hear about
probably-
that?
No.
So among the several brilliant ideas they had to promote Fallout 76, they came out with this thing called Nuka Black. They put like a spiced rum in a shitty plastic bottle that that you couldn't even pour the fucking drink out of properly, and like you couldn't crack the bottle open so you could replace it and replace whatever is in it, right? So say you just really like the bottle, because the bottle looked admittedly kind of cool. You couldn't like replace it with your favorite Captain Morgan, or even, you know, put your favorite bourbon in there. You know, like it was just poorly designed. You should look it up. It's hilarious. And apparently the rum itself was really bad. It was panned by a lot of people.
Are we talking like proper 12 bad, or like Heaven Hill bad?
I don't think I've had either of those brands of rum.
Well, these are one's a vodka, and proper number 12 is Conor McGregor's whiskey, and it's just a shitty cheap Irish whiskey with vanilla extract in it. And Heaven Hill is like literally hands down the worst vodka out there. It's like $12 like a gallon. Ooh,
Yeah,
had that.
Or have you ever had 5 o'clock?
So yeah,
The bottle does look pretty cool, though.
But you're not supposed to put dark liquors in plastic.
Well, it was in a glass bottle that was in the plastic. Yeah. So you couldn't open up. Yeah. Here's the ridiculous part, was that you couldn't open up the plastic shell to replace the liquor bottle in, which to me makes no sense. Like, okay, you have this really nice plastic shell. Why not like just make it like a Snap-on? First off, I mean, it's a terrible idea if you can't even pour the drink out properly. Like, just straight up, if you can't pour a drink out properly, then what's the point of having it in a fucking bottle? But yeah. Well, yeah, that's how they got the crowd drunk. They had all these Nuka Blacks that they had to get rid of. Here, drink this shitty rum that we couldn't sell enough of. In all these nylon bags.
I'm reading about like I'm reading an article on it now about how the disappointment might be more poignant, also given that it comes on the heels of Baggate, where they sent the nylon bags to people.
Yeah, instead of the hashtag CanvasGate. Oh my god, I forgot. We even talked about that when that happened. Go ahead.
They're selling these per bottle for $85.
I'm not even looking at it right now.
That's too much. That's too much.
Yeah.
It's just
look, my favorite bottle of whiskey is fucking $30. And it does me just fine. If you can't match that liquor wise, I don't know what to tell you. So I think we have one more story that we can talk about here. Some deals people can grab real quick. Of course, next week we will have full deals of the month for June, but here's some other deals you guys can pick up. Epic Games is apparently hitting it really hard right now, really trying to bring more people to the platform with some, honestly, top tier goodies. Fucking top tier. So available until May 28th, you can pick up Civilization 6. So if you're listening to this within 24 hours of this episode, go pick it up now if you want it. Otherwise, you're not going to get it in the future, at least for free. Maybe for free. I don't know. I don't know what they plan on doing for Civ 6. PlayStation Plus subscribers, you guys can also get access to Call of Duty World War II starting today. So go on ahead and pick that up if you're interested in that. If you want to, a lot of people are saying maybe wait to renew your PlayStation Plus subscription until next week when they fully reveal what's coming out for the month. If you're kind of on the fence, well, is Call of Duty World War II worth it for the subscription on its own? Maybe wait until next week to see what they fully reveal for PlayStation Plus, which of course we will talk about next week. Other than that, that's all I got for news. That's all I got for topics and things people should be on the lookout for. Anything that you guys wanted to mention and talk about?
Next month we got the Pyramid Head coming to Dead by Daylight. That's about the only thing I really got outside of what we already talked about.
Yeah.
The ride chips suck.
I'm gonna fight him.
I'm gonna fucking strike him. We were talking about maybe getting dinner tomorrow too, because I'll be up in his neck of the woods. I might, we
Bring
might
a full bag of Gardetto's rye chips with you, dude.
and just
And
smack
just
him.
eat them right. Yeah, smack him with them and then eat them in front of him. Chew them open mouthed over his unconscious body while the crumbs fall into his mouth.
Yeah, just bitch.
Crumb on my mouth, Dad.
My troll will eat his ass.
I mean, I would too, but that's.
I do work out this ass pretty hard. It's pretty scrumptious. All right. So with that, nothing else to talk about that you guys want to mention or get out of the way?
No, the PlayStation Plus games that are coming out next month. There's been some rumors that they're going to be pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna feed into that until we have an official for next week. So
yeah,
keep your ears and eyes posted for that.
Yes, I'm sure we'll probably mention it on Twitter too. So make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, all of us on our individual channels and stuff. So let's go on ahead and we'll just plug ourselves here real quick. GreenElite, what is coming up on your channel?
Probably just some Apex, honestly. I'm gonna start getting down and dirty with Adobe Premiere starting this week. So I'm gonna probably start making some YouTube videos. Hopefully decent quality YouTube videos. Maybe. I'm not sure. But you can always find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGreenElite, and on my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I do have a Facebook page I keep forgetting about, and then I'll post on it for like a week, and then I'll forget about it, and then I'll remember it and post on it for like a week. So
yeah, I was looking at it, and there's some sort of asshole trolling you.
Yeah, some dude. Yeah, he talks a lot of shit about you. It's really weird.
Yeah, he has some sort of hate boner for me.
Yeah, I think he doesn't like you. Yeah, so.
So is that? I'm sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, you're good. Yeah.
All right.
My OnlyFans. Don't forget my OnlyFans.
Oh yes, OnlyFans. RevSven, Padre, what's coming up on your channel?
Well, assuming I don't get sick again, a few of the things I got coming up, I'm probably going to continue Chex Quest a little bit, just for the funsies of it. I did pick up a series of games on Humble Bundle for like $6, by Daedalic Entertainment, called the Deponia series, which looked really interesting. So I'll probably dive into those. If nothing else, I'm going to play Maze, which is about science experiments on corn gone wrong. Right up my alley. And then just some other indie goodness. And you can find that at twitch.tv/RevSven, or you can find me on any platform as RevSven TV.
Excellent. Also, Maze, game about corn gone wrong, sounds like living in Iowa 2020 simulator.
I'm not entirely sure where it takes place, but I would not be surprised if it is either Iowa or Nebraska.
Look, if it doesn't take place in Iowa, then they're doing it wrong. Just straight up. All right. So coming up for me this week, I probably won't be streaming for the rest of the week. I might stream Friday. It kind of depends on how things go. I need to take my dad in for surgery tomorrow. So I'll be off for sure tomorrow and Thursday. I've also been having some internet issues. So I'm actually really surprised that the stream has gone as well as it has for us right now. I do have a tech coming out on Saturday. But kind of coming up in the next couple weeks, I paid for another month on the Minecraft realm. So we'll be doing probably like Mondays, we'll probably just be chilling out with some Minecraft, and then Wednesdays, Thursdays, probably some Apex, and then Fridays we're going to continue with Fallout New Vegas. Of course, Tuesdays are the podcasts. So that's what's coming up with me. If you guys are interested in more stuff that I do, check me out on YouTube, Daniecae Media, and go on ahead and subscribe there if you guys are interested there. You guys can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Daniecae, Daniecae. Otherwise, I think that's gonna wrap it up for the show. So we sincerely appreciate all of you guys for taking the time to watch and listen to the show. You guys are, of course, the reason we do this. We hope you guys find value in what we do here every week. If you missed any part of the show or want to catch up on some older episodes, you guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you guys want to help support the show, the best ways to do so is by giving us a like, subscribing, ringing the bell on YouTube. You can also drop us a rating or review on the podcast platform of your choice. And the absolute top tier way to help us out is by telling your friends about us. Legitimately, that helps us way more than you guys ever know. And it's also probably one of the easiest ways to do it, because you guys don't have to log in anywhere. You guys don't have to create an account or anything like that. You don't have to remember passwords. It really is just saying, hey, I was listening to this. You were mentioning this game. Here's some other people's thoughts. Something like that goes a long way. Other than that, guys, we appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe and healthy. And we will talk to you guys again next week. Bye.
I love you.